looking to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Nea Mangawang, delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region. On today's headlines. Indonesian President Joko Widodo orders an overhaul of water transportation safety standards in the wake of the accident in Lake Toba. Malaysian police reopens investigation into the grisly murder of a young Mongolian woman in 2006, which has been linked to former leader Najib Razak. And ASEAN parliamentarians adopt a stern stance for a drug-free region. Indonesian President Joko Widodo has ordered an overhaul of water transportation safety standards in the wake of the accident in Lake Toba, North Sumatra, where a boat believed to be carrying hundreds of people capsized in the 500-meter deep lake on Monday. Take a listen.
Saya minta Basarnas, TNI, Polri, BNPB untuk secepatnya segera menemukan dan menyelamatkan korban. Bagi semua pemilik kapal, patuhi semua peraturan yang ada, utamakan keselamatan penumpang, serta ikuti petunjuk dan arahan dari BMKG mengenai perakiraan dan potensi adanya cuaca buruk. Saya juga minta kepada Kementerian Perhubungan dan Dinas Perhubungan di daerah untuk selalu rutin melakukan pengecekan berkala demi keamanan dan keselamatan penumpang. Saya minta kasus seperti ini jangan sampai terulang lagi, dan saya telah memerintahkan kepada Menteri Perhubungan untuk mengevaluasi seluruh standar keselamatan bagi angkutan penerbangan.
The accident in Lake Toba, the worst in years, has highlighted the glaring lack of safety procedures for water transportation. The authorities have struggled to provide accurate information regarding the number of people on board the ill-fated boat, with the ship sailing without a permit and the operator refusing to release a manifest, a document listing the vessel's cargo, passengers, and crew. It is unclear if such a document exists. The vessel, KM Sinarabangun, has the capacity to carry around 43 people with only 45 life jackets, but it is widely believed that the number of people on board the boat exceeded 200. As of Wednesday, the authorities said they had only found 22 passengers, 4 of whom were dead, but they had also received reports that a staggering 192 people were reported missing and feared to be trapped inside the sunken vessel. The captain and 2 crew of an overloaded Indonesian ferry that sank into the depths of a volcanic lake have been detained for questioning over the deadly disaster. Police said the trio were among just 18 people rescued after the vessel capsized and sank Monday at Lake Toba, a picturesque tourist destination in Sumatra. 4 passengers have been confirmed dead, but official estimates listed 192 others, including children, as missing. That has raised fears the sinking could be one of Indonesia's deadliest maritime disasters. Officials said the traditional wooden boat could have been carrying 5 times the number of passengers it was built to hold, along with dozens of motorcycles. Local police chief Marudut Liberty Panjaitan said captain and owner of the boat Tua Sagala and 2 of his crew would be questioned. Earlier Thursday, National Police spokesman Yusri Yunus said a captain had not yet been questioned because he was still traumatized. Meanwhile, hundreds of grief-stricken people remain at the shore hoping for news about missing loved ones. Among them is Jaydianto Nainggolan, who said a dozen relatives were on the boat, including his 3-year-old nephew. He showed a picture of the group that he said was taken shortly before they got on the ferry, which has not yet been located.
mau menyeberang ke Samosir untuk mengadakan acara pesta. Itu namanya kalau kami pesta tubuh ya, itu memestakan itu. Jadi keluarga-keluarga kami menyeberang ke Pulau Samosir. Pestanya itu hari Senin. Kakak beradik yang ada 4 sebelum kejadian ya, yang cowoknya ada 3 kakak beradik. Ini nanti yang kakak beradik ini punya anak masing-masing. Tepatnya hari Senin jam 6 sore ya, jam 18. Adik saya yang tinggal di kampung menginformasikan ke saya, menelpon, "Bang, itu ada keluarga kita yang tenggelam di kapal." Ada tenggelam itu, ada video di atas kapal itu adik kami satu. Yang jelasnya, yang lebih jelas nampak adik kami itu yang pakai baju batik. Ya pencarian, ya coba diumumkan apa hasilnya. Itu yang harapan kami dari pihak korban. Apa hasil pencarian 1 hari ini? Nah itu yang harapan kami dari korban. Jadi kami tahu ada harapan sedikit itu nanti korban bisa ditemukan.
The vessel is believed to have been operating illegally with no manifest or passenger tickets, so officials have struggled to pinpoint the exact number on board when it went down in bad weather. Now here in the Philippines, President Rodrigo Duterte will be the first casualty of the ban on political dynasties under the proposed federal constitution being drafted by the Consultative Committee or CONCOM. Former Chief Justice and CONCOM Chairman Renato Puno made his remark during the first national forum and public consultation entitled Revisiting the 1987 Constitution of the Philippines on Thursday, stressing that there was no way for Duterte to extend his term or for any of his immediate relatives to succeed him. Speaking before lawyers at the Manila Hotel, Puno pointed out that although the CONCOM failed to vote unanimously on many issues, the prohibition on political dynasties was not one of them.
First casualty, if I may use that word, is no less than President Duterte himself and his family. For under this ban, the President cannot be succeeded in office by any member of his family within this second consanguinity or affinity. The President said in black and white that he has no complaint about the ban on succession. Let us therefore diminish the unfounded thought that this move to change the 87 Constitution is a mere sophisticated ploy to prolong the term of the incumbent president.
On March 12, the CONCOM voted to prohibit political dynasties to the second degree of consanguinity or affinity, which means that an incumbent official's parents, children, spouse, grandparents, siblings, grandchildren, parents-in-law, and brothers and sisters-in-law cannot run for office simultaneously or succeed each other in office. Puno, in an earlier press conference, assured that there will be no holdover provision under the proposed federal constitution. He said, by the time we have shifted to a federal form of government, a new president will be voted. Puno pointed out that the limits under the 1987 Constitution will still be binding. He also assured that the transition period to a federal form of government will not go beyond 2022. ASEAN in Focus will be right back. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Malaysian police have reopened an investigation into the grisly murder of a young Mongolian woman in 2006, which has been linked to the country's former leader Najib Razak. Altantuya Sha'aripu was shot dead and her body blown up with military-grade plastic explosives near Kuala Lumpur. The murder was the most shocking aspect in a scandal involving allegations that an associate of recently toppled Prime Minister Najib Razak arranged huge kickbacks for the purchase of French submarines in 2002. The case captivated Malaysia for years, and there have long been allegations that Najib, defense minister at the time of the deal, and his wife Rosma Mansour were involved. They have steadfastly denied the claims. 2 government bodyguards were convicted of the killing and sentenced to death. One subsequently fled to Australia, where he is in detention and maintains he was ordered by quote-unquote important people to carry out the murder. Altantuya's father visited Malaysia this week. He met new Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad, who backed reopening the investigation and lodged a fresh police report about the murder. Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad said it was impossible for former Premier Najib Razak to be unaware of the transactions involving State Fund 1MDB, as he had claimed, as his signature was all over the related documents. In an interview with Reuters earlier, Najib denied any knowledge of the embezzlement and blamed his advisors and the 1MDB board for not informing him about it. Najib claimed he was unaware that the money moved through his personal account was from 1MDB, and if it was laundered to buy assets which included yachts, paintings, jewelry, and real estate. Now, in a report in Malay Mail, Dr. Mahathir said it is ludicrous for someone to direct 2 billion Malaysian ringgit to be transferred into his account, but at the same time refusing to be informed of the transaction. He was referring to the around $700 million that was allegedly misappropriated from 1MDB into Najib's account, as detailed by the U.S. Department of Justice's anti-kleptocracy probe. An Indonesian court is set to decide Friday whether to sentence a radical cleric to death for his role in a 2016 terror attack that was the first claimed by the Islamic State group in Southeast Asia. Aman Abdurrahman is suspected of masterminding the gun and suicide attack in downtown Jakarta, which left 4 attackers and 4 civilians dead. The assault in the capital saw dramatic scenes as a suicide bomber blew himself up in a Starbucks while security forces battled gun-toting militants. Last month, prosecutors demanded that Abdurrahman be executed for the attack. Abdurrahman, considered the de facto head of all IS supporters in Indonesia, is also the spiritual leader of local extremist network Jamaah Ansharut Daulah. Despite being in jail since 2010, Abdurrahman has recruited militants to join IS, is thought to have been in communication with leaders of the jihadist group, and is the main translator for IS propaganda in Indonesia, according to analysts and authorities. Indonesia, the world's largest Muslim-majority nation, has long struggled with Islamic militancy, including the 2002 Bali bombings that killed 202 people, mostly foreign tourists, in the country's worst-ever terror attack. Meanwhile, President Duterte condoled with the family of the slain police officer at a wake at the Isabela Police Provincial Office on Thursday. In his 20-minute stay at his quote-unquote solemnly restricted visit to the wake of Malig, Isabela Police Chief Senior Inspector Michael Angelo Tubanya, President Duterte saluted the remains as he expressed sympathy to the slain police's wife, Anne, and parents, Josue and Loida Tubanya. He assured the immediate release of the benefits due to the slain police's immediate family. Earlier, local officials welcomed the president upon his arrival at about 5 p.m. at the Tactical Operations Group 2 at the Kawayan Air Force in Kawayan, and later took a chopper to the 5th Infantry Division in Gamu and then to the Isabela Police Provincial Office, where he visited the wake. Some local government officials, such as Isabela Governor Faustino D. III and Ilagan Mayor Evelyn Diaz, had been with Duterte during his visit. The presidential security group has barred media and spectators to go inside the wake area as the president, who had other schedules after the wake visit, did not talk to the media and to the spectators outside the provincial police office. Tobanya was shot to death by the two suspects during the conduct of a buy-bust operation at 10:15 p.m. Sunday along the National Highway in Barangay Centro 1, Malig, Isabela. The police said the suspects suddenly drew an undetermined caliber of short firearm and shot the victim, hitting the right side of his body. The suspects then fled the scene on a motorcycle. Tobanya was immediately brought to Yumena Hospital in Rojas, Isabela, but was pronounced dead while undergoing medical treatment. Earlier, Tobanya received a Medal of Valor or Medalya ng Kadakilaan on June 19 in Gamo, Isabela. The two suspects, identified as Warren Bulawit and another suspect who is a minor, were nabbed in a pursuit operation around 10 a.m. Monday in Tabuk City, Kalinga. Bulawit was tested positive of paraffin and drug tests. He and his cohort were indicted for murder on Tuesday. The 31-year-old slain policeman is a graduate of Philippine National Police Academy of Masaligan class in 2011. We'll be back after this break. Stay tuned.
Hello, my name is Samantha Suarez and I'm reporting here from Gainesville, Florida. Behind me is the Florida Museum of Natural History, home to a butterfly rainforest featuring hundreds of butterflies from across the world. Do you know another place that has sites from across the world? Well, check out Digital Nest on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. And I'm Juan with 25.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave some love by giving it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe here at ABC Digital Nest so you don't miss any of our upcoming features.
I am Butch Antonio. I'm the Deputy Executive Director for International Affairs of the Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas. I am Juan with 25.
Letters and Music, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, 1:00 hanggang 2:00 ng hapon.
Welcome back. House Committee on Dangerous Drugs Chairman Surigao del Norte 2nd District Representative Robert A. Sparbers joined parliamentarians around the Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN in adopting a stern stance for a drug-free region. A total of 52 delegates from member parliaments of the ASEAN Inter-Parliamentary Assembly Advisory Council on Dangerous Drugs, or IPACOD, adopted the resolution on securing a drug-free ASEAN community for future generation at the end of Council's two-day meeting in Singapore. The Mindanao Solon led the Philippine delegation in the meeting, which included Ako Bicol Party List Representative Rodel Batocabe, Samar 1st District Representative Edgar Mary Sarmiento, and Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnulfo Teves Jr. In adopting the resolution, the lawmakers from the 10 ASEAN countries vowed to provide peoples of the regional economic bloc with a secure, stable, and drug-free environment for future generations. The Philippines country report stated that President Rodrigo Duterte's intensified war on drugs manifested the government's serious fight against the drug problem. It said that 2017 marked a milestone in the anti-drug campaign, with the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency and other anti-drug enforcement agencies netting 5.24 billion pesos worth of seized drugs and non-drug evidence, including those recovered from 238 high-impact operations and 2,435 high-value targets. Also, a total of 38,830 anti-drug operations were conducted, resulting in the arrest of 75,008 drug personalities and filing of 37,430 drug cases against the arrested suspects. Meanwhile, the power generating arm of Thailand's oldest industrial conglomerate, Big Crim, has partnered with Vietnamese construction firm Suan Cao to develop the largest solar power plant in Southeast Asia at a cost of $420 million. Big Crim Power Public Company CEO Priyanard Soontornwata said the deal was inked last week in Bangkok witnessed by Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha and Vietnamese Premier Nguyen Xuan Phuc. The 420-megawatt solar power plant will be located in Tay Ninh, southwestern Vietnam. Commercial operations are due to start by June next year. Big Green Power has also set a goal to have a total of 53 power projects with total power generating capacity of 2,938 megawatts in 2022. Finally, in today's program, with improving Philippine-Indian bilateral relations since President Rodrigo Duterte's visit to New Delhi, the two countries continue discussions on improving the country's pharmaceutical industry, according to Indian Ambassador to the Philippines, Jaideep Mazumdar. Last April, the two nations held a joint working group meeting led by the Department of Health. Ambassador to the Philippines, Jaideep Mazumdar, said that in this joint working group, they talked about capacity building, coordination in terms of laws and regulations regarding drugs, training of people, alternative forms of medicine, and how to develop the pharmaceutical industry in the Philippines. India had been supplying medicines to the Philippines, but in the future, the envoy expressed hope that Indian pharmaceutical companies would also set up operations in the Philippines. And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Nea Mangawang, always 1 with 25.